Hello everyone, it's Fu here, and today I want to talk about the Scarlet and Violet starter Pokemon final evolutions. I want to talk about their stats, abilities, and typing. Before we get into the video, two things. Firstly, I'm not going to show any designs or the names of the Pokemon so that people can stay relatively unspoiled while knowing what they're getting into when they pick one of the starter Pokemon. And two, in terms of the source of this information, so the games have leaked, some people have their hands on them already. It appears that someone is data mining this information. While we can't verify the source so much at the moment, it's very likely that what I'll be talking about today will be seen in the final games. So take it with a slight pinch of salt because it's not guaranteed. So let's get into it. Starting with Sprigatito. This Pokemon evolves into a grass dark type, which we've seen a number of times before. We've got Cacturne, Shiftry, and more recently Zarude. Cacturne and Shiftry haven't been so good in competitive. Zarude has been alright. But Sprigatito's Evo has a few things going for it. It's by far the fastest of any of the Pokemon I just mentioned. It's got base 123 speed, which is very fast. And it has base 110 attack as well, which is pretty strong as well. Its bulk is kind of middling to low for a starter Pokemon, but that's okay when it's obviously meant to be a fast revenge killer, sweeper kind of thing. So it's looking really, really strong in terms of its stats. Typing is good offensively, it's probably not so good defensively, but again, as an offensive Pokemon, that's not so much of an issue. And in terms of abilities, so it has Overgrow, obviously, but it has a hidden ability, which is apparently Protean, which is crazy. Now, whether hidden abilities will be available at game launch is under question. We don't know. Maybe the ability patch will be in the game, like in the Crown Tundra, where you could give Pokemon their hidden ability. If that's the case, then we'll have access to these hidden abilities straight away. If not, we may have to wait for an event to bring us these Pokemon with their hidden abilities or to bring ability patches. That remains to be seen. But Protean is crazy, so this changes Sprigatito's Evo's type to whatever move it uses, and it gives same type attack bonus to those types, as well as being a mechanism for you to change your typing for defensive reasons too. We've seen it with other starter Pokemon, so we've seen the water starter in Greninja having it, we've seen the fire starter in Cinderace having Libero, which is equivalent, and so now it's the grass starter's turn, and wow, it probably will be very good. It's actually the fastest of all of those Pokemon that I've just mentioned. It's 1 point faster than Greninja and 4 points faster than Cinderace, and it's pretty much as strong as both of them. It will be stronger than Greninja in terms of the stats, and it's slightly less strong than Cinderace, but it will be very strong. It remains to be seen what coverage it has to make the most of Protean, but this is looking like a really, really strong starter. So if you are a Sprigatito fan, no need to worry. Definitely stick with Sprigatito because its Evo is looking extremely good. Moving on to Fuecoco, this evolves into a Fire Ghost type. We've seen that a number of times before, so we've got Chandelure, Blacephalon, and Alolan Marowak. All of these Pokemon are very offensive and strong and tend to be a bit more frail. Alolan Marowak is slower and does have a bit more bulk, but nothing compared to Fuecoco's evolution. Fuecoco's evolution has a massive HP stat and a good defense stat as well, so it will be able to tank physical hits easily. Special hits, not quite as well, but it does have that massive HP pool, so it should be okay. Fire Ghost isn't the best defensive typing, so having good bulk is kind of necessary, especially when you consider that Fuecoco's evolution has a low speed stat. It's definitely the lowest of all the starters in this generation, and it will be slow. So that's the biggest drawback with this Pokemon, but if you do prefer tanks, this is the Pokemon to go with for this generation. The others are less bulky and more offensive. It does have a good special attack stat, which is really nice, and Fire and Ghost have good special moves, so it definitely differentiates itself from the other Fire Ghost types being slower and bulkier, while still retaining a strong special attack stat. In terms of abilities, its hidden ability will be Unaware. I think this is super cool. Unaware is definitely an underrated ability. It ignores the opponent's stat boosts, so if they're trying to set up to sweep, you can ignore any of those stat boosts and tank any hit that they want to go for because you ignore their attack boosts, and then fire back, ignoring their defense boosts. So I think it's a really cool ability which can have some interesting competitive play, and I can't wait to see how this guy performs in competitive. If you're a Fuecoco fan, then just be prepared that it's definitely a bulkier final evolution rather than a more offensive one, but it should still have a competitive niche, and I think it will be really interesting. Finally, Quaxly's evolution. This turns into a water fighting type. We've got Poliwrath and Keldeo for comparison as water fighting types. And Quaxly, it does differentiate itself again. Whereas Poliwrath is more of a bulky water fighting type, Keldeo is more of a special attacker, fast special attacker. Quaxly seems to be a physical wall breaker. So it's got an amazing attack stat. It's got kind of middling bulk again and middling speed. And the speed again is kind of a bit of a letdown. It's the thing that holds Quaxly's evolution back. But it definitely looks like it could be a wall breaker, coming in, outspeeding a lot of the slower walls and dealing massive amounts of damage. What's nice is water fighting is good both offensively and defensively. It doesn't have too many weaknesses and it hits a lot of things for a lot of damage. In terms of hidden ability, Quaxly's evolution will get Moxie, which boosts its attack stat every time it gets a KO, which is extremely strong and is very good for sweeping. So all Quaxly's evolution needs is a good move to boost its speed. We don't have that information yet, but if it can boost its speed in any way, then it looks like Moxie sweeps are definitely on the menu. And also both water and fighting type have some priority moves. So like Aqua Jet and Mach Punch are potentials for Quaxly's evolution, and with those, with the Moxie boost as well, you could lead on to some priority sweeps at the end of a game. So this Pokemon is looking pretty fun to play around with. I think it's the one I'm going to choose because I just really like the water fighting typing and I like birds. So yeah, that should be pretty fun. In terms of the overall winner, I think Sprigatito's line has the most potential for competitive just because it will be the fastest user of Protean that we've seen so far. Fuecoco's line is pretty interesting. It is very different and I can't wait to see how it functions in competitive. Let me know your favorite in the comments below and any comments that you have about these Pokemon. All that's left to be said is I've been Foo, you've been awesome, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.